Hey, here we are. Lone Star Sports Network is bringing you the Lone Star Sports Show every Tuesday and Thursday, 6 to 8, right here on the Lone Star Sports Network. Got yours truly, Alan Branch, supported by Under Your Money, the Prince, keeping us between the lines with an opinion and go with it. And the main lady that is in charge of the whole process, Lady Life there, sitting there with the steering wheel and the brakes. Hey, let's take a look at today's show. Is brought to you by FastMallSports.com. FastMallSports.com is located in Chicago, Illinois, where CEO and founder Ross Comerford continues to guide basketball into the 21st century through the vehicle of technology. A lot going on. You don't know quite where to start. You know, breaking news is, you know, all the other news is news in process, but breaking news is that the Supreme Court has ruled that it is unfavorable or unconstitutional that the PASPA was overturned by the Supreme Court today. This on September 14th and September 15th, it was actually announced and kicked into deal. Some of the states had tremendous timing on this deal. Texas is kind of sitting there in the gray area, and I mean literally in the gray area on the chart. Obviously, Nevada, Las Vegas has had the bill full-scale legalized sports betting for as long as we've known legalized full betting. But some of the states like Mississippi, West Virginia, Connecticut, New Jersey, Pennsylvania. New Jersey may be one of the biggest winners in all this process. Soon to follow in behind those states, California is all over it. Oklahoma, Kansas, Louisiana, Missouri, any of the states that had a high presence of gambling and casinos and sports wagering, gaming type, casino type environments were all over this and were part of the ones that were doing the lobbying and the pushing to try to get this where they wanted it to go. But Texas is still sitting kind of on the outside looking in on this process, trying to see kind of which way it's go. If I know Texas like I know it, being right here at the Lone Star Sports Show, all things sports, all things Texas, Texas is trying to figure out where the money is and what they're going to do with it. Because we know how big we do things down here. The minute that we step into it, there's going to be a lot going on. So anything that happens in Texas, you can multiply it times whatever. One of the most populated states in the country, not per square footage, but just on the number of people, the count. You know, having the fourth and fifth largest metropolitan areas. And then when you throw San Antonio and Austin and all of that in, we're probably, and Ani can check me on this right here, we're probably somewhere in the neighborhood of about 20 to 22 million people in the state of Texas. Not a lot of states that can say that other than your California and New York.
27 million.
27 million. That was pretty accurately high, and probably ranks as, I would say, one of the 3 to 4 most populated states in the country. So, you know, Texas is sitting back, you know, and if you take a look at it, when you look at your more populated states, New York has already made a good push. California's made a good push. Those are our competitor states, I guess you would say, that in reference to population and size has the ability. But that's one of the biggest things is what's going to go, where's the money going to go? Well, Second largest, okay. Yep.
California.
California. That's what I thought. Just a little old fashioned math there, Ani, the Prince. Just a little old fashioned math of putting all that together. But that's what you're looking at there. But it's going to impact a lot of things. We're going to have a segment that we're going to talk about that when we come back. But we also will have a big deal going on for right here in Dallas, Texas. It's huge tonight for Dallas Mavericks. Have a big day for Dallas Mavericks. They let Mark Cuban tell it that the state being able to accept and the wagering and the law being lifted that allows gambling and wagering on sports now across the board, being legal all the way across, has doubled the value of his franchise. And he said some of the other franchises will experience some of the same things. Now, I haven't done enough homework to figure out why that's true, but with Mark Cuban being a self-made billionaire, I'm not going to argue with him. he's had a few things to go right. So before basketball, we all know him as a tech guru who made his money in tech and sold out, and at the right time and made a lot of money and came on to have the ownership of the Dallas Mavericks. But he has a very interesting take, I thought, on ESPN today, is that he's all for it and excited about it and what it does. You definitely know for some of the poor states, and when I say poor in the gross product, the production nature of where their economy is and how much stuff and corporations and what they actually produce in their state is definitely good for their education and their educational systems. Texas has a lot of things going on, so they could afford to sit and kind of look at this thing and have the power to jump in when they get ready. But New Jersey led this process, and they're the ones that are going to fall in probably at the highest level or at the initial leadership pilot type level is where they'll be. But as much as we're talking about the legalized gambling and what effect will sports ever be the same, one thing we have to look at, we also are looking at the NBA draft lottery tonight. Tonight is when we'll make a decision of what order guys are going to pick in, and thankfully the Mavericks are up there in the high percentage area to be right where they need to be, in the draft process. So it was projected at 3, and we'll see how all that goes and where the ping pong balls go tonight and how all that shakes out. But the great thing about the Dallas Mavericks situation is that they are in a situation where they're going to get 3 picks, unless they choose to do something with them. 3 picks in the draft, and that's a good number to have when you're as bad as the Dallas Mavericks are. And
how important is this the first pick they make? How important that is?
I mean,
is that for them?
It's obviously a matter of opinion. I think there's some guys that can potentially make a difference. They have Marvin Bagley sitting there as who they're projected, according to a lot of the draft boards. But there are lots of guys that they could get that they need, and like you need as much as they need. There's going to be a lot of war room shuffling, dry erase board, telephone calls that are going to be made. Some of this stuff is potentially going to shake out and be an accusation of free agents, and that's where they're going to get better, and the ability to possibly produce a blockbuster type trade type situation where they go and grab something. But I will go out on a limb and say this: Mark Cuban, we love Bron, but we don't need that. We don't need that. I think it's going in a great direction. Let's stay in the direction that we're going and hang in there and do that. We're going to talk about the NBA playoffs. Like I say, it's not blockbuster breaking news or anything, but it's hot and in the mood. We're going to review and take a look at some of those games. We're going to talk about some of the things that we predicted, some of the things that happened, some of the unfortunacies that happened based on our predictions. And then this past weekend, we went down to the ATL. Worst traffic in the country.
It's pretty bad.
It's bad. It was bad. It was bad, and I still don't. It's kind of like a lot of big cities. You get there and you can't figure out why the traffic was so bad. But it was worth the drive. I'm thankful that I wasn't cheap and I didn't go get me a cheap hotel room back in the ATL and had to drive all the way back out to Lake Point. I spent an extra $30 or $40 and stayed walking distance from the facility.
Yeah, that's smart.
It made sense, but so it all worked out. But we're gonna be breaking for a minute and coming back, and we talk about Nike, EYBL, NBA playoffs, legalized gambling, NBA lottery, everything that's going on in the world of sports and how they impact the great state of Texas. This particular segment is brought to you by Hartem Hotels, located in Houston, Texas. Invest. Put your money where you sleep. Go take a look at HartemHotel.com. Take a look and listen at the presentation that we have for them. Back in 180 seconds with more Lone Star Sports Show.
Hartem Hotels. Make money where you and millions of others spend money. Hartem Hotels Investment and Development Group's primary disciplines include hotel acquisitions, hotel development, hotel project management, as well as asset and partnership management. At Harlem Hotels, we invest in upscale focused service and extended stay hotel properties, mainly in Texas and other major urban markets. We are hotel owners, developers, investors, and asset managers persistent in our pursuit of successful ventures and passionate about our products. We provide nationally branded investment opportunities, including Hilton, Marriott, and Hyatt hotel franchises. Harlem Hotels strategically places the right product in the right location for the right customer. Get started with us today. Visit us online at www.harlemhotels.com. Harlem Hotels, put your money where you sleep.
Hey, here we are rolling back in here for the second segment of the Lone Star Sports Show right here on the Lone Star Sports Network. Keeping it real, all things sports, all things Texas. Plenty going on. Forgot to mention my main man, Tiger Woods, getting back up into the mix of things. I really like where he finished there. I like the reality of where he is. I mean, I think he's grown tremendously as a man, not necessarily a young man anymore, but as a man, I think he's grown tremendously in his process, and to get back in, continuously making shots. One thing that I do appreciate about him as much or more than anything is that that there's not a lot of what do I want to say, a lot of concern about his confidence. When you know a person is confident, when they can not be as successful as they would aspire to be or like to be or in quest of being, and still turn around and walk up to a mic in front of the world and talk about what didn't happen, what did happen, the good and the bad, and be comfortable and feel like you know the way. It's kind of like, somebody that's been there before. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate. Really appreciate about them right now is where they are. But getting back around to that NBA draft lottery piece, we're probably roughly I think about 13 minutes away from the ping pong balls. They probably got the machine all warmed up. We're not looking at it live here in the studio. Got to do something about that here real soon too. We're able to watch the thing and do a little bit more of that. But Mike Finley, longtime Maverick guy, Maverick star, came here and had a great career here. Assistant VP of Operations, I believe, is his title. Will be picking the ping pong balls. I think it was something that was kind of funny, honey. Of the different kinds of people that reach in and do the lottery picking. Mm-hmm. Darian Fox is going to be doing it for the Sacramento Kings.
He is?
Yep. And some of the guys had their girlfriends doing it. You know, I wonder what they had promised. What kind of deal is that? How
if they get no one pick, I wonder.
Yeah. I wonder how all that works. Yeah. There's something going on there. But trust me, anytime you're dealing with a woman, there's been an agreement. There's been some type of arrangement put in place. So this ain't going. I ain't doing all that. You know, especially when you get to that level.
And then Lil Penny is going to represent the Orlando Magic.
Is he really?
Yeah.
Okay. The Little Penny is a dog.
Yeah.
You know, that's funny. I got about 4 phone calls that I didn't return from his group today, and I wonder what that was. You know, well, who knows? That's interesting. Yeah, I'll share that one at the break. But yeah. So now speaking of Penny, I got a chance to look at the great program that he built there with the group out of Memphis at the EYBL. But right now, you know, you look at it and you say, okay, NBA draft means absolutely nothing to the Houston Rockets or the San Antonio Spurs.
Right.
Means absolutely nothing. I don't even think that they may not even be in situation for a pick. If they are, definitely they don't have a first round. Well, San Antonio actually does have a first round pick, and they got a good one too. A kid from IMG. Yeah, that could be a really interesting look there.
Anthony Simons.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I was with his people, with IMG coach this past weekend, and I heard a lot of good things, but I got a chance to get some firsthand stuff for him, and he's kind of what they need. Now, I don't know how that all grooves and jives, and that's the general managers and all the research group, how that goes with Popovich,
right,
Coach
right.
Popovich.
Yeah.
But on paper, in X's and O's and in principle on the chalkboard, it makes
they need at the guard spot.
Yeah, it makes some sense with the guard spot. They gotten old at the guard spot. You know, as much respect as I have, and it probably sound a little biased or whatever, is I think they made a major mistake trading Jonathan Simmons.
Yeah.
He was too versatile of a perimeter guy that could play both on and off the ball.
And look at the impact he made with the Magic. Even though the Magic fell off due to injuries,
right.
I mean, the immediate impact he made, they were like 8-2 at one point. I mean,
Coach, let me tell you something.
Good.
And you know, I think Prince, you've been around me for a pretty good little while now. You got a chance to analyze some of the things I say. Jonathan Simmons can play.
Oh yeah.
Jonathan Simmons might be one of the most talented guys that I've ever evaluated, especially God-given natural talent. There's lots of different types of talent. You know, got some guys, you know, talent because they're born a certain size or you know, develop a certain kind of athleticism. And, you know, and some guys, you know, get in the gym and work really hard and develop certain skills and study the game and become, you know, high IQ, high skill guys. He's probably one of the most naturally gifted people. It comes easy to him. You know, it comes really, really easy. One of the most true ambidextrous guys I've ever evaluated before. I don't know if you ever heard me say that, but
yeah, I remember you told me about
I mean, he could walk in your gym on Thursday and shoot all left-handed jump shots, and you think he was a hell of a shooter, and you go see him at another gym on Friday, and he'd be shooting with his right hand, and you still think he was a hell of a shooter. Wow. And I haven't run into that, you know. I mean, and I would love for someone to call in and share with me. And like I say, and like we always say in this business, I've been doing this for a long time, but I've used running the guys that could, you know, use their both hands well and, you know, and finish with both hands and handle the ball with both hands. But I'm talking about a pure stroke out to 20-some feet with both hands. You know, I haven't run into a lot of that. And I'm sure there is. But, you know, back to the Mavericks. Let's talk about who needs the help. You know, San Antonio's going to be fine. They're smart. You know, they got my main man there at the helm as a general manager, he'll do a good job as he's always done, and go out and figure out what they need and get them back to where they are. They actually have two. I didn't realize they had 2 picks in the draft, and it'll be funny how they'll work that and get where they need to be to accomplish what it is they're trying to accomplish. But everything is just moving up. There are more high school kids, and I got a theory about this. There are more high school kids reclassing and going to college early. I remember back when my man did it and went over to UConn. It was almost unheard of. The center that plays for Detroit, I believe he is.
Andre Drummond.
Andre Drummond, yeah. Andre Drummond was one of the kids I had in NBA Top 100 camp, and he decided to go to college early. AC Law, right here out of Mesquite, Horn High School, reclassed or decided to go to college late into the summer. And it seems to be really in vogue. There are guys that are reclassing and going on with the process. My theory is that, some of them don't have any chance toward the McDonald's game. They've gotten bored with the high school game. But one of my deep underlying theories are they're trying to get to the money. They're trying to get to the money faster. I was talking to a guy, a big family of basketball out of Chicago, Illinois. One of the siblings out of that group was just talking about the fact that, a lot of these guys are such a big rush to get to the brick wall. There's not going to be anywhere to go. You're getting a log jam, And speaking of log jams, this is Thursday of this week. The NBA Combine camp starts right there at the Quest Center in Chicago, Illinois, where this year they have 69. I've never known them to go over 60 spots. They got 69 guys in camp.
Wow.
And then they have a lot of guys that are on the draft board that are definitely going to get drafted that are not in camp at the Combine. They chose not to even work out, not to do anything, just draft me. I'm going to continue to do what I'm doing.
And that's generally how it goes for lottery top players and lottery guys. They generally don't try to go to the
well, a lot of times they'll go.
Or they'll do the testing.
They'll do the testing or they'll do the interviews, but they won't play. Yeah. And I'm not sure what. We had Zaire Smith on back in when he first declared, or maybe it was after his Elite Eight run as a freshman at Texas Tech, and is going in, and he's still floating right around outside that lottery, 16, 17. He's a guy, for my little information or for my little knowledge base, that I would say that I would consider possibly not playing and only testing. Because he potentially, I was told from a fairly reliable source today, that kid has a 7-foot wingspan.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he's probably a legit 6'5" or so with they have him listed 6'5" right here, 6'5" or so but realize what a 7-foot wingspan is like on a 7. I knew he had long arms, and when he was playing here, and what we thought and what we looked at about him, but just a tremendous evaluation when you start looking at the measuring and the testing and what possibly potentially can go on with him in a situation like that. Because he's not just a player that's a 2-foot jumper or left foot jumper or right foot jumper.
Right.
He jumps off of all 3 scenarios, which is kind of unique at a high. I don't know. Some people are saying 42, 44-inch vertical. I'm sure they have the equipment and the ability to get it measured out exactly where it is. He's a guy that could go there and not play and test only, and then you take his tape, and his tape comes back and shows him making shots and doing some good quality basketball thing at the Elite Eight level against a Villanova who has multiple draft choices, basketball going at a high level like that. It could be an interesting thing right there. But we're going to come back and talk more about what's going on in the world of basketball, in the NBA world. We're going to talk some more about the gambling piece. We're going to chime in on NBA playoffs and give you some thoughts on that as we work our way down through the process. But right here at the Lonestar Sports Show, all things sports, all things Texas. This particular segment was brought to you by Fast Models Fast Recruit. Go take a look at Fast Model Sports or Google Fast Recruit and see how college coaches are tracking prospects both during the club and scholastic season and giving them the ability to monitor their process. Like I say, Fast Model Sports has taken us to the 21st century through the vehicle of technology. Back in 180 seconds with more Lone Star Sports Show. Hey, we are back here at the Lone Star Sports Show on the Lone Star Sports Network. All things sports, all things Texas. Today's show is brought to you by FastMallSports.com. Go take a look and see how Fast Mall Sports is leading basketball into the 21st century through the vehicle of technology. We appreciate them and love them for all that they do for the basketball and all they do for the Lone Star Sports Network. Back, like I said, right here in the middle of everything that's going on, just realized and verified that Jared Vanderbilt, one of the 236 players to enter their names into the draft, 181 of these players are college underclassmen / post-grad. So what does all that mean? Okay. You got 236 guys that have turned their information in and say, I want to be eligible for the draft. Well, first of all, to be eligible for the draft, you only need one thing. You need to be 1 year removed from high school, and that's it. You know, the mailman can put his name in for the draft if he wants to. So once you've done that part, now we have two classes. We have the 55 players that are coming from the international ranks, which will have a strong representation in what goes on in those 60 spots. I know 1 year there was roughly a third, about 25 to 30% of all the players drafted were all of a international background, foreign background, born on foreign soil. I-20 guys that will have to have a visa to play in the NBA, a work visa, and to be able to maintain their status in the United States and play in the National Basketball Association. So we have that. But of the 181, you can have some, like the kid I talked about earlier. You pronounce his first name a whole lot better than I do. His last name is Simmons. Anthony. Anthony. You know, that's the way it is. That's a funny way, fancy way of saying Anthony, huh? Anthony. Okay. Anthony Simmons is a kid that never has been to college.
Yep.
You say, well, how can he go to the draft? He went a year post-grad.
Right.
You know, one of the 236 guys in that deal, or one of the 181 guys, is a guy that's creating young minds. You may know his name. I'll call it number 5.
It was.
Yeah. And we won't have to call his name right now. 6'10" kid, played in the Lone Star Challenge. He'll be going
Mustafa.
to Mustafa, right. Yeah. He's one of those 181 guys, names who's in there. And I'm not here to pass judgment on who's ready and who's not ready. I am concerned because I do what I do because you want to do what's best for give young men the best opportunity they possibly can have through the vehicle of basketball. You look at my original mission statement when I first got into grassroots basketball. Basketball was a vehicle toward a lot of things, and I won't elaborate, but a lot of things, a lot of successful things, are ways that would enhance their lives through education and social development. And economics is a part of it. So NBA has an impact on that part of the economical part of it. But what do you want to sacrifice? But explain that situation. You've got the postgrad, and underclassmen that are in college that are in a situation where they are putting their name in, and some have hired agents and some have not. We just learned that Jared Vanderbilt has not hired an agent. Will not participate in the combine situation in any of the activities. That means he won't do any testing. He won't play. But it also says that he's going to sit down and do the interviews, go through the process. And that basically means he's going to meet with a few teams that want to meet with him and take a look at it. You know, I mean, known Jared for a long time. Really Lamar Odom type player, passer, has a little, what's the kid from Australia, Simmons, that's over with the 7'6", Ben Simmons.
Point forward type.
Had point forward, facilitate type guy, high IQ. What he does do at a high level that he doesn't get nearly enough credit for is he's a tremendous rebounder.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Yeah,
he rebounds.
He rebounds really well. And rebounding has value. Ask Dennis Rodman. Dennis Rodman had a great career rebounding. And like I often say, rebounding is the best defense there is in basketball.
That's how you get the ball.
That's how you get
the ball. You rebound.
You control the game when you get the ball. Anything, if you stop and look at anything that ends in ball that we participate in, having possession of it represents control.
Right.
So if you got a guy that rebounds well, he gains access to the ball. You can't shortchange that. We spent so much time on scoring, but none of the scoring happens without the ball. And I think that's one of the things that Jared possesses, is a high IQ. Just flashed back in my head, his shot was getting a whole lot better right before he left to go to Kentucky. I would really, really, really struggle. I know he stayed hurt a lot, but I would really, really struggle to believe that he went to Kentucky and his shot got worse. Right. But he was actually the last 120 days that I watched him and evaluated him here when he was still in high school and finishing up at TCal and doing all the things he was doing. He was actually starting to shoot the ball with some confidence, and you could see that he was getting better at it. And
it was just a confidence issue?
Well, his confidence has some mechanics in it, but he fixed the mechanics. But see, the thing about fixing something is a lot like golf. You can fix something, you can be with your trainer, but then when you get in the heat of the battle, what do you trust? Right. That's where the confidence comes in. We trust what we're familiar with. And that's what happens in shooting. That's what happens in the golf swing. I mean, I've had some golf lessons from some tremendous, renowned golf teachers, and for 1 hour, I looked like I was ready to quit my day job. But when I would get back with my buddies and start gambling, and the money get on the line, and we're playing our neighborhood skins game, then when it comes time I got to make a shot. Do I want to do what he said do, or do I want to do what I know about being able to get by with? It's the same thing. It's a trust factor, and we like I said, we tend to go with what we trust. It's our instincts, survival instincts, and it's no different in shooting. But back to Vanderbilt, I think he's going to be in a good place. But you're looking at all these 181 guys, 55 guys from overseas, a whole lot going on. Tell you one of the most intriguing guys out of all 60 guys on the draft board, potentially all 236 that are entered in the draft that are sub guys, and that's Mitchell Robinson.
Yeah.
I had the privilege or I had the opportunity. I'm not sure how much of a privilege it is or was, but I had the opportunity to host. I guess that's a fair word. I don't think that's an illegal word for me to use, but they came over and were considering moving into Houston and needed a little guidance about, where to eat, what this, that, and the other, and went down, want to know where the gym, went out and worked out with John Lucas in his camp and stuff. Talented. Very, 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 very talented. Kind of puts you in the mind of a Dirk Nowitzki type guy. I mean,
more bouncier, more athletic.
Maybe a little bouncier. I mean, Dirk wasn't always.
Yeah, I know. I remember. Dirk wasn't.
Dirk.
I remember Dirk with Steve Nash, Michael Finley.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right. We'll go ahead.
Moved a lot better.
It's some funny thing lately. Like they don't remember when. we have a lot of amnesia in our natural.
Well, that's what I was comparing it to because I.
Not. Well, how old Dirk now? 37, 38?
40.
Dirk, I was trying to help you. Yeah, he's more bouncy than 40-year-old Dirk. But no, man, all the Dirk Nowitzki jokes aside, the kid can really shoot the basketball with a lot of size. Okay, I got one better for you, Miles Turner.
Yeah,
Miles Turner shoots the hell out of it. Almost said a bad word on the radio. Late life get you. Put some money in the cup or something for go cussing around here.
We get the sensor. Get the sensor.
Hit the button on me over here. But he shoots it well. Y'all get my point?
Yeah.
All the basketball people know it. Branch was about to say shoot the boo boo out of it. But Miles Turner had a great year. But anytime you get a kid that size that moves, I think he's a little better athlete than Miles. And not so much as a better vertical athlete, but a better lateral type guy. Just moves a little bit better laterally. Tell you another guy that's tremendous, doesn't have this kind of range. We'll be talking about him next year is Bo.
Yeah.
I didn't know much about Bo until one of my close friends recruited me. He kept telling me, he said, Branch, you haven't seen anything like this. But, just tremendous situation there. But breaking it down, 181 guys, college underclassmen, post-grads there. Like I said, maybe 2-3 weeks ago, where are they going? Yeah. I say, well, we go to D-League. Well, D-League has only got so many spaces.
Right.
It's where are these other guys going? They want to. These guys are in place to retire a lot of guys, and I don't know. It's going to be interesting. I think that the council for the college basketball reform committee or whatever Condoleezza Rice calls that operation or set up. They've got their work cut out for them, but I really worry about them really coming to some legitimate conclusions. I think they're very intelligent people, but they don't necessarily have a point of reference that's going to allow them to understand the climate and the overall nature of what goes on in the basketball industry. And they're running me back up against the break again here, but once again here in right about now, we already have it. I'm going to find out. When we come back, we'll talk more about it. Some of you guys that are out there listening probably already know exactly which way the whole draft lottery thing is going, but I'm going to look it up and take a look. The Prince will get us where we need to be. But when we come back from the break, we're going to take a good look at what else is going on in NBA basketball. It's not Basketball Thursday. We got plenty of basketball going on. This particular segment was brought to you by the Lonestar Top 100 Camp. Go look at TexasGrassrootsBasketball.org or go over and look at Texas Grassroots account on and look at the videos that are on the Instagram account if you want to know what Lone Star Top 100 camp. It's been one of the extremely successful camps with college coaches and talent. Had kids that come in from Florida and just mesmerize the process. We have had some really good camps. We're anticipating having another one will be utilizing Drive Nation. Going to be some technology involved in this deal. We're going to kind of take on some of the ways and of a fast, small sports and some of the things and way things are going to get out with live stats and a lot going on in this world right now. It's funny how it's all integrating with basketball. But the Lone Star Top 100 camp, go take a look at Lone Star 100 camp or call in at 713-392-1930 and find more out about Lone Star Top 100 camp and how you can be invited or approved to attend. Back in 180 seconds with more Lone Star Sports Show. Yeah, before we went to break, we were breaking down where things are. I'm not sure if we had a chance to figure out exactly where that first ping pong ball went in the lottery. I'm sure Honey the Prince will let us know here shortly. But, you know, looking at some of the guys, we claim Trey Young because he spent so much time here and he's just right across the Red River. Kenrich Williams played at TCU. P.J. Washington spent most of his time here, played at Kentucky. Going to be involved. Zaire Smith has been on the program here. You heard me talking about Mitchell Robinson. Shake Milton, I wrote the article on when he committed to SMU and played here at SMU for 2 years. Kevin Harvey, for all you sleepers out there, one of the ones that was played on the second team for the Dallas Mustangs, was there at Arlington Bowie High School right there in Arlington, Texas. Has been a little injury prone, but has made his way to one of the 69 being invited to the draft combine. I've only attended that event one time. I've been to the Quest facility multiple times with Adidas Nations and All-American, McDonald's All-American practices and stuff. Great facility. Love to see it a little bit bigger. Boy, it gets a little tight in there when you get all those pros and wannabe pros and supposed to be pros all in one spot. It can get really, really, really interesting trying to keep all the people separated from the celebrities that are all the general managers on one side and parents on one side. You can't leave the parents out. And then you got all the guys in the middle trying to figure it out. But and you got Bumba, you know. These are all players of roughly 10, 11 players of the 69 guys that are supposed to be participating in the camp, and that's moving straight all the time. Right now, as we spoke yesterday, Jared Vanderbilt was participating in the camp, and now he made an announcement roughly about 15 minutes ago that he won't be participating in the camp. So all this stuff moves fast. Agents are making decisions and choices. Families are making decisions. Head coach like a John Calipari is advising and talking and what you have to learn, and and guys get a chance to sleep on some things and some reality stars to look and say, man, where am I going here? It might not be so bad over here in Kentucky. I don't know. I'm not sure what's on Jared's mind. Know his father. Don't know his mother. We all went to church together, actually, in Houston there at Windsor Village. But good people, and they'll figure it out. And the kid's got plenty of talent. It'll happen for him. Just found out, or didn't just find out, but I found out earlier today that Robert Williams, who will be a first-round draft pick, is not participating in anything in Chicago. He just decided he's just going to chill. Back to the Mavericks, and I don't know if did you have a chance to figure that out with the draft lottery? What went on with the first round of what happened there? Who got the first pick? You haven't picked it out yet?
No, I haven't seen anything.
I might have something here that might let us know something here. We got the Cleveland Cavaliers and Boston Celtics getting warmed up and have that going. We have plenty to say about that here shortly, but as of right now, no, we do not know the answer. But I think the answer is
it's coming pretty soon.
Is a fact, and they may be still doing a bunch of hoopla stuff and marketing. That's one of the things we're going to talk about with marketing and presentation. Of what that does in sports these days. A lot of things going on. It's amazing to me always, and I love the fact that I'm able to make a living, my livelihood through the vehicle of basketball and through sports. But sometimes it just amazes me how much energy, how much resources, how much time, and how much revenue, how much money is made in sports. And sports don't have anything to do with where we live, doesn't have anything to do with where we eat,
right.
Doesn't have anything to do with where we die, or medical field. It's just it's kind of interesting about the human beings. I guess it goes all the way back to when the Olympics first started back in Athens in whatever year that was. It's the competitive nature of human beings physically competing to show which one is superior just grabs at the inner nature of who we are as human beings. What does that say? What does that say about us? I don't know if that's good or bad, but that's who we are.
Yeah, it is that's just what it is.
It is what it is, that's for sure. There's no doubt about that. But no, I mean, so you take a good look at at what all is going on right now in sports, and it's just a lot to be said. There's a lot to be said. We still don't have any information, and I'm gonna leave it alone. Stop being so contrary and hard-headed or bullheaded about it, and get right back to it. But you start back talking about all things sports, all things Texas. San Antonio is sitting there with 2 picks. I'm sure that they're going to do a good job of working around and dealing with that situation and finding what they need, to return the San Antonio Spurs back to the dominance and what we say the top group, as my main man Snoop Johnson used to like to say. We have some announcements coming on about that. I'm sure a lot of you all listeners already know, but we're gonna say congratulations anyway, and we'll tell you later about what the congratulations for. But we're extremely excited about that situation.
Definitely.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. But how does a Robert Williams help? I pose that one to you, honey. How does a Robert Williams help a Dallas Maverick?
Well, it gives them an interior presence that's needed. I think, especially Dirk playing this final season, you're going to need somebody, a frontline prospect that'll be able to, produce inside.
Yeah,
and then I think all majority. Well, I think when you look at NBA championship teams, and I'm going too far, but they always have a strong front center that blocks shots, rebounds, does the dirty work, and that's what Robert Williams brings.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. He has the size, he has the athleticism. I mean, they're going to
reminds me a lot like DeAndre Jordan.
Yeah, I mean, I think they got to get a big, and DeAndre Ayton would obviously be ideal. They're probably not going to get him. Not real familiar with Jarrett Jackson. I mean, I know who he is at Michigan State, but haven't studied him enough. Some of my friends like a Michael Porter, Wendell Carter kid. I'm not a big Wendell Carter. I mean, he's a big body. Yeah. I've seen, I'm not big, really high. Bamba, I got some closet issues with Bamba. Not me, great, tremendous kid, human being, but not really sold. I like big, strong, durable bigs with a decent amount of pop. So I mean, I really look at a Robert Williams, the Mitchell Robinson. On paper, sounds like a potentially a great pick. But I think, let me ask you this question, and it's a question obviously I have a formulated answer about. But can they take a undersized big like Robert Williams? Because believe it or not, Robert Williams is somewhat undersized for the power forward center position at the NBA level. Yeah. I recall some years back when Kevin Garnett, and I forgot who all was in the NBA, and I was talking to one of the GMs or scouts for one of the NBA teams. Matter of fact, I know exactly who it was now. It was one of the Houston Rocket guys, a guy that I have a tremendous amount of respect for there because of his longevity. And BJ Johnson, how long he's been there. He said, well, Branch, I like him. And then he rattled off. He said, well, he got to guard these four guys night in and night out. And I kind of went, oh, okay. And Kevin Garnett was one of them. And there were three other guys that were comparable in that situation. So when you start making a pick, when you start picking out the guy, and I believe, and we'll see, I've been wrong before, when you start picking out, or when you start really taking a legitimate look at what it is that the Mavericks need, I went out and I watched them play some. I watched them practice. I watched a few different things. I just did not walk away with any sense of frontline presence that's needed. Everybody talks about, we play in a positionless game, and this translates. There's no more true. No playing with a real center. Who's doing this? Who's doing that? I agree with a lot of that. Oh man, I can't believe that. I agree with a lot of it. But the fact is, you also have to stop and look at, they are still protecting the rim. The deal is to keep the ball out of your goal, the goal that you're defending, and put the ball in their goal.
Right. I think every NBA champion has an interior defensive presence.
Right.
Even you look at Golden State last year, I thought JaVale McGee was really important, blocking shots.
But who do they really have with young Hami? You start looking at Bernard James. You start Bahamra. I mean, you got a bunch of Nerlens Noel is a young guy.
Yeah, Dallas doesn't have any. You need a front line. They need a.
And I'm sure they got some guys down there thinking possibly different than what we're thinking. But I mean, come on. I mean, let's get come on. I mean, Mavericks, if we're gonna get this thing in all things sports and get all three of our teams hitting it, wouldn't it be good that 10% of all the NBA is right here in the state of Texas? Right. That's what you're saying when you say we got three teams here. What other state does that? So we need to get our process together here and see if we can't get on the right page there. So we're hoping that with the Mavericks, and one of those guys will be available. One of those guys will be available. I mean, everybody would like to have a DeAndre Ayton, but I think there's plenty of other guys that are around that bring that kind of a presence. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes down, and then we have the draft that'll be going on before long. Well, we're going to go to break, and we're going to come back and visit a little bit and dive in and talk about what's going on in the NBA playoffs. Hopefully the Mavericks get it right here at the Lone Star Sports Show on the Lone Star Sports Network. All things sports, all things Texas. Today's show is brought to you by FastModelSports.com. That particular segment was brought to us by Hartem Hotels. Go take a look at HartemHotels.com, investment and development company located right here in the state of Texas, down in the Bayou City, Houston, Texas. Take a look in the list and see how they can lead your investments into a good place, a safe place. Go take a look at it and see if you can trust it. See what it is there for you. HartemHotels.com. Back in 108 seconds with more Lone Star Sports Show. Under Your Money, the Prince, Lady Life, keeping us where we need to be, and yours truly, Alan Branch. All things sports, all things Texas. Back. Hey, we are back here at the Lone Star Sports Show on the Lone Star Sports Network. Today's show and all shows, being the 107th show, actually 108th show, have been sponsored and brought to you by FastModelSports.com. We got man Adam Silver on there getting it all going and headed in the right direction. They're getting it all in. Kind of looks to be more like a preview of the draft. I guess they are going towards the climax of the process, and that's where they're going. I think one of the Twitter comments, according to I think the Prince was, why does the NBA draft lottery show have to be an hour long? Well, it's an hour long because they're previewing their product. That's what they're doing.
Right.
They're previewing their product. Yeah, they could send it out and put it out in a tweet and say what order they're going to be drafted in and be through with it. NBA, that's one of the things that we're going to talk about here. If we could ever get it rolling fast enough here to get to it, is one of the things that makes things go as fast as they go and do what they do. One of the things before I get into the playoffs here, we got a lot to go because once we dive off into the playoffs, it's going to be all over it. Nothing else has a chance tonight. Is how does the legalized gambling, what are the pros and cons? How does it affect sports? How does it affect our climates? How does it affect our communities? How does it affect our kids, our children? You're talking about billions of dollars that are wagered in sports every year. I forgot it was some crazy number of illegal betting and what they had that projected to be. And bookies and the guys that run the numbers and keep the bets going on. One of the reasons I thought this was pretty interesting is that one of the reasons that as the ping pong balls are going and popping there, one of the reasons why the illegal bookie will stay in business, and I thought it was pretty legitimate, is the illegal bookie is the only gambling entity that extends credit. So you can get into it, and you might not, I'm not sure how your kneecap's going to come back.
I wouldn't want to do that. I wouldn't want to do that.
But that group there, they extend credit. You can keep on gambling and gambling and gambling, and you can gamble your kneecaps away.
I get a knock on my door.
Yeah, with big earning, earning. Don't run for the back door because they had the back door too.
There ain't no door garage.
Hey, they just always kill me on mafia movies and stuff. Dude, look up and see who's coming, and then turns around and look, man. If they can figure out where you don't think they got somebody on the back door,
Right?
They always turn and run to the back door, and the dude's at the back door. I don't care if it's the SWAT team, if you're watching one of those crazy movies like sitcom or shows, reality shows with where the SWAT team busts in, and the bad boys always try to run out the back door like the cops wouldn't cover the back door.
They got you surrounded.
Yeah.
They got you surrounded.
But no, that's always kind of baffled me on that deal there. But that's one of the reasons they will stay in business. This is what bothers me. If this thing falls all the way in, and I've had some intimate interaction or intimate knowledge. Let's put it this way right here. I lost a kid. He's made it back and he's doing great now. But I lost a kid that was playing at the mid-plus level to gambling.
Dang.
He was making $20,000 a week as a college kid, as a freshman, who came from inner city Houston. And BJ wouldn't mind me calling his name because he goes around and speaks to kids about it. And then you see Headache here in town that runs the deal. Headache is is the big piece. Have you ever done it? You're too young to know the research, huh?
I've researched him.
Okay, Headache was a point guard at Arizona State, but when everybody talks about gambling in sports, they're talking about that. Two Texas kids, two fine young men, two guys that I still communicate with and have a tremendous amount of respect for. Coach BJ, and we love to say, well, they should be smarter than that, but we all sit in this room. And what would you do if you were making an opportunity to make $20,000 a month? I mean, a week, which equates to $100,000 a month.
Yo, I'm gonna look at it.
I mean, and how many young men would not potentially be allured away?
Right.
I had an interesting conversation on the plane with a young lady, or actually she was actually the exact same age, so she wasn't young, same age as myself, was talking, and she said, "What do? You seem to be," and when we started talking about, I told her, and she said, and this was a lady that doesn't know a ball screen from a full court press, but she was a fairly intelligent woman of another race, and she said, "I don't understand." She asked me this question, "I don't understand. How does the NBA and the NCAA feel they're going to make billions of dollars in this process, and these ladies, so often single parent mothers, are going to sit in these situations not knowing how they're going to pay their rent sometimes the next month, trying to raise these kids and not be allured to something, allured into a situation." And she didn't mean anything racist about it. She was coming from a pure social economic. She had a couple of margaritas, so she was a real comfortable place. And but she was real honest and fair about it. She said, when we were being raised, if we'd have had a brother that could take care of us, our mother would have looked at it. I mean, you got to stop and look at the fact that survival is the biggest human instinct. There's nobody in this room that's going to starve to death without exploring all means and directions and ways with providing clothing, shelter, food, and our health. Mm-hmm. That's our mere existence. Right. And there's no anybody in here that won't explore. You know, some people feel like they're a babe. You think it's not? They won't. Go take a look at the movie Trading Places. The movie Trading Places tells it all about how we are as human beings and what our human nature is. You know, environment, breeding, genetics, or whatever word you want to use, interchangeable with that. When you take a look at it, we all are human beings. You know, that are going to react a certain way. So when you put something like this into place, what are you opening the doors for? This is one of the things that came up that's high on the table, and certain states are trying to decide whether or not they're going to allow it or not allow it, is the situational bets. Who will score the first basket? Who will call the first time out? Mm-hmm. Who will do all these different things? These are things that you can influence almost without being tracked by the FBI. Right. And accused of point shaving an outcome. You know, so I mean, it's scary what you're doing here, and the question comes down. That's why I kind of respect what Texas is doing, and probably about 20 other states that are still on the outside, looking in, and haven't made any real direction or pursuit in this process. Is how are we going to manage this? Yeah, there's tons. We brought the lottery in. There's tons of money. But this is the problem that I have. This just kind of came off the deal coming from a group of educators, wife, mothers, and aunts and everybody. We do all this stuff to legalize stuff, and we say the money's going to education, and the teachers still are being paid a sub-level rate. Mm-hmm. We know the lottery people making plenty of money. We know if this gambling comes, it's going to bring billions of dollars into putting billions of dollars on the table. So supposedly the reason that you're getting into it, you're taking something of the nature of gambling, a vice like gambling, mm-hmm. bringing it in and saying we're going to make this a part of what it is that we're going to do for the welfare of those other things that are lacking in funding. Well, I haven't done a lot of research on this, but for some reason or another, it's like the money is not getting from the lottery ticket and from the slot machine and from the crap table, in this case, to wagering on sporting events, over to the library. Yeah. I don't have time. I evaluate players every day, but for some reason or another, the library keeps on coming up short in the process. So what's really going on? Where's the money going? We could go out. We've got a real political activist right here that runs our show for us, Lady Life. Lady Life probably know where the money is. But we do know the money is missing somehow or another. Because we get to the library, it don't look no different than it looked when I was a boy. No. So the billions of dollars are not getting to the library. So that's the problem that I have. Now, does it create jobs? I mean, I've been in plenty of cities. I spend roughly 6 days of every 365 days in every year for the last almost 20 years in Las Vegas. So I have a real comfortable feel for all the people that make a living and all the jobs that are created and all the people that are going there to work. So I kind of respect that. I see that and understand that. 13.8% chance for number one pick for Michael Finley. Michael Finley is sitting there, he's getting toward the climax of what's going on.
They still haven't made a selection yet?
No, Elliot Perry's sitting there with Detroit. I mean, they get it all going, but nobody's got a super fan, Courtney Love. They building it up. They're doing the hype. We're gonna talk about hype later on. Hype and with human lives involved in the process and choices and decisions. But the money's not. That's the problem that I have with it is the money gonna get to the library or not? Is it gonna benefit the community? Is it gonna benefit education? Is it gonna enhance the quality of our lives? We know the money's there. Now the question is, are we going to hold the so-called decision makers and elected officials accountable to where the money's going? Are we going to benefit from it? Running back out of here on a break again, going down here and past the top of the hour, my main man used to say. Now we're rolling on down into the whole deal with look at the NBA playoffs and got some interesting takes on some of that and where we need to go and what we can look at. You know, talk about what were the biggest surprises so far. What have been the biggest surprises in the deal? Has this thing gone? We got the ping pong balls all lined up and ready to go. They just spit them all out and kick them all up and going here. Be back in 180 seconds with more Lone Star Sports Show. This particular segment was brought to you by the Lone Star Showcase, Lone Star Classic and Showcase. Go take a look at the Lone Star Classic and Showcase at TexasGrassrootsBasketball.org, and you can learn more about what's going on there. Go look at our Instagram. Go look at Texas Grassroots Basketball on Twitter. Go take a look at TX Boys Basketball, can lead you in the right direction with everything. All things sports, all things Texas. Under Your Money, The Prince, Lady Life, keeping us between the lines, and yours truly, Alan Branch, back in 180 seconds. Go take a look at Lone Star Sports Network and go take a look at TexasGrassrootsBasketball.org and see what it is. Back in 180 seconds. Hey, there we are. Lone Star Sports Show right here on the Lone Star Sports Network. Giving it to you like it is. Today's show is brought to you by FastSmallSports.com. Put in where it needs to be when it needs to be there. All things sports, all things Texas, right here in the heart of North Texas and Oak Cliff, Texas. All things are bigger and better in Texas. Definitely bigger. Sometimes we question whether better or not, but we are in it to win it. I thought that was an interesting piece. Never thought about it. The state of Texas represents 10% of the NBA teams. We got 3 of them right here out of the 30, right here in the state of Texas. NFL, we right up in there, deep, real good. Major League Baseball, we right up in there. But Texas is a monster, boy. You know, I've often said, I don't know if I could do what I do anywhere else but the state of Texas. I might could do it in California, but I don't know. It's just something about the synergy and what's going on. My main man, Jerry West, sitting there. He always seems to go represent his group when it comes time to take a look at. Okay, they are working their way on up through the
These tweets
process.
They've been cracking me up.
Tweets are killing us. Social media is making it hard on them.
Yeah.
We're doing good right now. I actually forgot exactly how this process goes. Nuggets will have number 14 pick. Can't have my glasses on to see exactly who that is at the 13th and 12th spot. On a little small screen, that's maybe the 76ers. No, 76ers just moved over there, locking it in. So we still, the longer they don't call your name, the better off you are in this process. Right. That's the way to go. I don't know why I had it in my head that they started from the top and went to the bottom.
Yeah, I forgot they go.
They go from the bottom up.
14,
They
all
bring
like
some
that.
climax to it because it was kind of like calling out the Miss America, the beauty pageants. They started out with the runner-ups and go all the way into. Then they call the first runner-up, and she's the only one standing, and she goes, "Oh my God," and started crying and all that. Yeah. Hopefully the Mavericks be, "Oh my God," start crying in a minute. We gotta get some players up in this camp, man. I can't. I'm gonna move back to Houston on y'all. Be doing the show remote. I'm going down there where they. I don't want to be with the bottom group.
You're gonna be with the players at.
Yeah, I want to be with the players. I don't want to be with the bottom group. I go head back down to the Bayou City. But my wife would kill me if she hear me say that, boy. When we moving back to Houston, she wouldn't have it. She'd be staying here. I'd be on a serious commute, which is not a bad commute. Not a bad commute, but playoffs. You say. I don't think there's a real full-blown surprise of who's playing. I think that one of the biggest surprises is how they got there. Oh no, who would have thought that the Eastern Conference semifinals would have been 4-0, 4-1? Who would have thought that the Western Conference semifinals would be 4-1, 4-1? That's that. None of those. I mean, I would venture to say I can't remember the last time that the winners either swept or lost only one game that moved to the Final Four of the NBA championship.
Yeah.
No, I mean you got 7-game series for 6
Generally,
games.
there's a 6 or 7 game series.
Right? Yeah. I mean, we don't have not one 6 or 7 game. We haven't had a 6 and 7 game series since we left the first round. And it's an interesting animal. You're sitting right here now, Cleveland Cavaliers and Boston Celtics, and Tony Prince is off to a good start there. He called Boston. We're going to elaborate and talk about that.
Houston just not making me look good.
Yeah, Houston not making you look too good, boy. If I'd have been as smart as you, I think I'd have been smart enough to pick Golden State over Houston. If you're smart, to me, if you're smart enough, it's funny how that gets twisted in my head. If you're smart enough to pick Boston, how were you not smart enough on the Western side to pick the Warriors?
I just thought Houston was going to do something different.
Man, that is a great place for a start. And boy, my 7-7 zip code people gonna kill me on this one right here. But when you playing Matador defense, when you sit in a situation where you looking at it like they're looking at it in Houston, I know my main man John Lucas got to be cringing sitting on the bench. Watching this dude usher these dudes by him over and over again. They love his 40 points. What do you have, 41 points on the night? 41. Name the game with the winning game. Win the game. Play to, my man in football coach Dungy said, we played to win the game. Not Dungy, but that was another guy at the gym. We play to win the game. If you're playing to win the game, you got to play some defense. You got to stop all that outscoring people. Especially how are you going to outscore the Golden State Warriors, the most efficient team in basketball? You're the second most efficient team in basketball. So what that says on paper, okay, Daryl Morey with all your analytics, what that says on paper that y'all are comparable as far as your ability to produce offense. So you're comparable right there if you just mix a little defense in. Now, one of my close buddies says, there's no way that dude can't play any defense. He doesn't want to play any defense.
And take that three.
I tried to justify it and say, man, he hadn't been playing any defense.
By the Warriors on that high screen roll.
They just kept
played here by Hart, goes to the crossover to the right.
Anybody.
It didn't matter who it was. Steve Kerr would have run by him if he didn't come off the ball screen.
And you see Capella every time they have Capella just
Pitches off to Curry.
Because he knew, waiting on James Harden, you got to go by it and try to provide some kind of defense. And that's it. And you know what that tells you? If you saw that and you watching it for fun and with a trained eyes of basketball stuff, what do you think the staff what do you think the staff with the Golden State Warriors
see what style
Brown.
Wins out here. The isolation style, one-on-one basketball of Houston, or the ball movement, mid-range shot.
What do you think he sees
of Golden
when
State?
he sees this guy going back? Because you just pointed out something.
It almost seems as if Golden State wants Houston to play one-on-one because they're staying with their size.
If Capella's leaking back off of ball screen situations to cover the guy that he know is going to go by, it's all basketball is about. Making the defense make a choice.
Right.
Pick your poison. That's why the power of the pass is so strong. That's why we're looking at what we're looking at with the Golden State Warriors. You know, how did the Golden State Warriors get so good? They're not the first team to get this good. We forgot about the Detroit Pistons with that group. When Larry Brown was coaching, we called, you know what we called it then? Play the right way. You probably were a kid in high school then. I don't know if you remember
the 2000, was it 5?
Huh?
That Detroit Pistons team?
The Detroit Pistons
team.
team.
Ben Wallace, Rasheed Wallace, and Chauncey Billups, Rip Hamilton.
Yeah, there you go. They played the right way. We just keep on acting like this is what Golden State is doing something. They're playing basketball the way it was designed to be played. And that's one of the big deals, you know, and I asked a question I may have put out there on social media, I can't recall now. Have we done something at the lower developmental levels because the basketball can become so watered down that we trick kids into thinking that they can just take over the game and they can play a certain way and they can be ball dominant and they can over dribble and they can handle, and this can be interpreted or this can be brought into saying that this is correct basketball because I'm dominating. Well, you're dominating a bunch of kids that can't play. You know, and it catches up with you at the next levels.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? What did Villanova? I mean, Villanova just went on. What did my main man? We were talking about the other day. He and I were talking on the phone. Beard, the head coach of Texas Tech. You constantly got to trick these kids into playing basketball the right way. So what are we doing at the low level? Is it grassroots basketball fault? You know, my main man Stoop Johnson, you know, used to always say, there they go with that AAU stuff. Call for a high ball screen, everybody else watch. You know, and what you just demonstrated, Ani, is the Prince has just shown us that you looking at a situation, if you're watching tape over and over and over again, and you know that you in a situation where Capella's got to do what? He's got to help off and recover. They switched on the ball screen. Now he's got to come back off his man and switch again because this dude can't guard this dude because this dude is threatening a point blank layup.
Early on here by
what does Golden State do very well? What else do they do really well? They shoot it really well. So when you leave one open, what happens? Yeah. So when Capella helps off on the ball screen, Harden already is out of the picture. He already said, if he's not going to go at the first guy in the primary defense, how do you think he's going to come back over and rotate over and guard in secondary or help or recovery defense? So now what you're going to see is that when Harden standing there, his concrete boots not guarding nobody. Capella helped off. He helped off for somebody. 9 times out of 10, he helped off somebody to shoot the basketball. He left it open at somewhere around, I would say, 14 to 18 feet. And so whoever goes by him, before they run in there, because a couple times the other night where they run in there, Capella protected the rim really well. He blocked the shot. And so now when you're going to turn back around and look, Harden standing there with his concrete boots on while somebody else is standing over there wide open. Now that guy is going to make that pass, what I call the old loop-to-loop pass, where you go from your right side back over your left shoulder or vice versa if you're really good, back your left hand back over your right shoulder. Now you're making that pass back for an open shot. Well, what happens when you give Golden State open shots? They wear your ass out. That's what they happen. And so that's what you're going to see as we get ready to go to break here. Y'all take a look. If they don't come up with a way to keep James Harden out of these situations or these primary defending situations, Golden State is going to continuously pick on situations where he's guarding the ball. Whoever he guards, that's who we're going to run off the ball screen. That's what you're going to see. you're going to see more of them taking advantage of the situation. You see it all the way across. We're going to take a look at what's going on with the Celtics, but we'll come back after the break and talk more about what's going on right there in the situation. This particular segment was brought to you by Fast Recruit. Take a look at the product Fast Recruit and see what they're doing to guide basketball into the 21st century. Look at how the technology is assisting our prospects being exposed to coaches and coaches managing their recruits. Back in 180 seconds with more Lone Star Sports Show, and we're going to tell you why this thing is going to go the way it's going to go when we get back. Are you teaching basketball and playing basketball the right way? Back in 180 seconds. Hey, here we are back here, getting down into the paint where it really happens at right here in football season. We like to call it the red zone. Right now here during basketball season, we like to get in the paint and above the rim where the action takes place at the point blank where you're trying to get to and where you're trying to go and all of this stuff. Today's show is brought to you by Fast Small Sports. We in our 7th segment right here of giving it to you, all things sports, all things Texas. Well, we've been educated and found out that before we get back to the playoffs that the Mavericks have ended up in the 5th slot in the lottery. The ping pong balls could have been worse, but they weren't great to us. Don't want to get sidetracked on this deal, but do the Mavericks take a pick and pop 4-man type guy? Do they compromise too much presence in the paint? Right now, what really works good is a guy that can do some pick and popping and can really protect the rim, too, and defend. Unfortunately, in basketball, most of our pick and pop guys aren't very good defenders. That's just, So, what do you go with? I think Robert Williams, from an analytical standpoint, would be a no-brainer if he was 6'11", 7 foot tall.
Oh, yeah.
At 6'9", and he's a big old kid. I think he would be fine. But I know how these decisions get made. The scouting crew there with the Mavericks are really getting ready to make their money right now. I'm really interested to see who it is they're going to pick, and we're just a few days away from, not a few days, but a week or two away from the actual NBA draft, which will be taking place real soon here. How far away are we on that?
June 21st.
21st.
It's
about 7 days, huh? Yeah, days are 15th, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, that's June.
Yeah. Oh, June 20th. Oh, no, we're 30 days away. Mm-hmm. I'm trying to speed up, boy. Lady Life playing that reggae music on me, boy. Had me on vacation. I can see the blue water, boy. Well, I like to left y'all here for a minute, too. I can see the blue water, boy. One of them big, tall drinks.
Because you got a couple months to take vacation.
With a good coconut, they bring that drink out there with a big straw. That boy, they be down off inside. They be carved the inside of a pineapple out. Have a little umbrella on there, boy. After I give me about 3 or 4 of those in after a good round of golf, boy. I left y'all for a minute. I didn't know if I was going to tell you that, but I'll go ahead and let y'all in on it. I bailed out on y'all for a minute. That music was hitting me just right.
He ready for the summer to be over.
Hey, boy, I was hitting that music, boy. I was just right there where I wanted to be, boy. Then they have one of them girls to come by with not that much clothes on to come by and ask you, do you want another one, sir? Beverage? Yeah, I could go for a little bit of that right now. But anyway, back on into reality here. The Mavericks got to get it figured out. Yeah, and I'll tell you who is in worse shape than the Mavericks right now. The Houston Rockets got to get it figured out.
Yeah.
There is a way, and I don't want to go out on a limb, but there is a way that you can hide this process of what you're doing based on how you guard those ball screens. And see, one thing you got to look at, passing the basketball makes the defense move. And that's where you're going to have to create some type of choices and decisions. What they're doing is, or what Golden State is doing to them is that they're throwing them into a situation where they're moving off of that ball screen, and when they move the defense far enough, they pass the ball back to the deficient part of the defense. Mm-hmm. We pass the ball, so you can't give up as much room as you're giving up right there. So they got to go and look. But that's what they get paid the big bucks for, and that's where all the adjustments come in. And we ask how adjustments impact the results. One of the things that on the run sheet, they can impact the results extremely high. Is it coaching? Is it coaching? Is it personnel? Well, personnel is not very good without a good coach, and coaching is not very good without personnel to work with. X's and O's, Jimmys and Joes. I'm 51-49, and you say, why am I 51-49? Because, you've heard my point guard analogy on many questions, race car without a steering wheel, no point guard. Everything needs some guidance and everything needs some direction, no matter how fluent, no matter how powerful, no matter how much talent is involved in the situation, there's got to be some guidance. Mm-hmm. You take the best race car, the most souped up sports car you ever want. I haven't seen a Ferrari or a Porsche yet come. I can't wait to see my buddy's Maserati out in the Bay Area. I'm going to stop by and visit him, see if he's going to let me drive it. He let me drive his Porsche. See if he's going to drive his Maserati. And all of them come with steering wheels. Mm-hmm. All of them come with steering wheels. Everything needs guidance in this world. You can't get around it. No matter how much talent you have, no matter what you have. So, it do adjustments impact results. That's all it is. Who can adjust on the fly the fastest? Mm-hmm. And who can exploit their adjustments for the longest? Now the thing is back in their lap. The deal is back in the Houston Rockets' lap. Tomorrow night, right there in the Toyota Center in the heart of downtown Houston, we're going to see what D'Antoni and John Lucas, that's the only two guys I know, Daryl Morley won't have anything to do with the adjustment. He might need to come help, though. What kind of scheme are they going to come up with so that they're not being exploited on offense? Now, here's one even better for you. I'm a football guy, and I'm sure basketball does it at a high level, just like football does. But in football, you're looking for their next reaction. It's a lot like chess. You're looking for what are they going to do when we do this? First of all, how long is it going to take them to figure it out? And then when they figure it out, what can they do? Or what's the probability of what's going to happen?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know Steve Kerr and Brown and them were thinking that. I know John Lucas is cussing right now. D'Antoni doesn't have a reputation for figuring it out.
No.
He just been outscoring dudes. That's been his MO. We're going to outscore you.
Yeah.
Well, outscoring the Golden State Warriors, the number one scoring, number one efficient team, no matter how good you were at it, and no matter how many games you won.
You're not going to just outscore Golden State.
No.
Especially in four games.
Because they can score just as well as you do, obviously on paper, better than you do, even though you won more games. They lost all their home court advantage in one night. It took them all year long. We started way back in December, January, February, March, April, and here we are in May. You did what took you 5 months to get, you just lost in one night. You know, because you won't guard anybody. And Matador defense. Yeah, I'm on you, James Harden. You know,
That's
good
bad.
player. I like a lot of things about your game, but you got to guard somebody. You know, and the poor little kids are looking at James Harden, and he's this and he's that, and, you know, possibly interpreting the fact that I don't have to play their defense. Good luck on that. But do adjustments to impact the situation. How dangerous is Draymond Green? Okay, I've been beating up the Rockets.
Mm-hmm.
Draymond Green got to back up a little bit.
Yeah, very.
I like toughness. I like guys that are intense, guys that don't take no. Guys, the basketball you saw was resemblance of a lot of traditional playoff basketball. But Draymond Green, you got to learn how to think.
Yeah.
You know, you can't emotionally react off of things all your life. Well, you know, when he's a kid, well, you know, he get emotional. You know, he's an emotional kid. He gets a little disturbed. And you getting paid millions of dollars.
Right.
You don't
keep your composure.
Exactly. There are no more excuses for acting off emotions when you're a grown man. Draymond Green's a grown man.
Yeah.
And has to be responsible for his actions. Draymond Green is probably the only reason, other than some crazy injury bug, is the only reason that Golden State probably doesn't win the whole thing.
Yeah.
That's the only thing. If he comes out there and does some crazy stuff and gets thrown, I don't know exactly what the rules are. 2 technicals, he kicked out the game. Can he play the next game?
2 years ago.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly. You don't need that. You can't blow the game just trying to bully somebody. I mean, he did bully my man, though. You see how he handled James Harden, boy?
He bullied him.
He handled James Harden kind of rough. Hey, James, I know you from California out there, or somewhere back out there the way. You know, we down here in Texas, we like to call y'all a little soft. You showed up a little soft there with the Michigan boy.
Going back to James Harden for a little bit. Does James Harden want to win a championship?
Man, look, James Harden got $100 million from Adidas alone. Boy, Lady Lightfoot said a lot of smart things, boy, but she just put another one right up there in the top of the ranks of things. Does he need to win another one?
That's a good point. Good point.
You know, you get $100 million from Adidas. I know he's a max or super max. If you get $200 million from.
Yeah.
Do you realize that when you start putting these numbers together, we're talking about something in the neighborhood of approaching $500 million? Not $500 million. Any tycoon, any smart investor, any smart guy could take a portion of that and turn it into $1 billion. A smaller portion of that and turn it into $1 billion.
Right.
And so, you know, you often have to look at, and Lady Life, that's one thing I love about having Lady Life around in the middle of all this sports crap that we got going flying around here is every once in a while she brings a little reality to the process, you know, of what is being looked at. You know, I see it all the time with college coaches. You get to this certain point. If I can walk away, everybody say, oh, you got to recruit my guy. He got to do this. He got to do that. Or he going to get fired. Well, if they fire him, they owe him $20 million. Getting fired ain't the worst thing in the world.
Yeah.
The thing is, it does not have no scandal around here, so they can't void my contract and I don't get my $20 million. That's the important part. What person in this room and anywhere out there listening, if they knew they're going to have a certain quality, high quality life for the rest of their life and their next generation, who's going to mess it up? Nobody's sane. Maybe Draymond Green. What got us on that subject? Maybe Draymond Green. They tell me I got to go to break here. We get ready to wind it all the way down. But we're going to come back and take a look at how this Celtic thing is popping and what's going on. Boy, I got to go real fast. I'm running out of time here with the whole deal. We got to talk a little bit about the EYBL and what all I saw down in it. I guess I'm going to focus on one or two guys, the top guys. Give some thoughts on that. But right here at the Lone Star Sports Show, all things sports, all things Texas. This segment was brought to you by Hardham Hotels. Hardham Hotels, put your money where you sleep. The investment and development company based out of the Bayou City right there in Houston, Texas. Take a look and listen, see how you can improve your capital gain situation through the vehicle of Hardham Hotels. Back in 180 seconds with more Lone Star Sports Show. Bilal Badley Hotel. Lone Star Sports Show right here. All things sports, all things Texas. Getting in where it is right now. And I guess we are in the paint. If we're not in the paint, we're in trouble. Because this is the time that you're supposed to be above the rim and taking a good, clean look at it right here. It's not basketball Thursday, but it is basketball. We got Boston and Cleveland just getting started right there. Boston trails by one, showing exactly. They're doing a little bit better on transition defense there, too. And that one, yeah, they look a little bit better right there. Interesting, little different tempo of how this game is getting kicked off. But right now, everything is moving along. You know, I predicted that Cavaliers would beat the Celtics, but the Celtics, I underestimated Brad. I always want to say Brad Underwood, who is a head coach at University of Illinois now, but Brad Stevenson came from over at Butler University. That's where I know him. He's a head coach over with the Boston Celtics now, doing a tremendous job. Really, really smart X and O type guy. This whole coaching thing, man. But you know, if you think it if you think it's X's and O's or if you think it's Jimmy's and Joe's, 51-49, I'm saying it right here on the Lone Star Sports Show coming from Allen Branch, you got to have both. Man, I hate it so much that I predicted that guy was going to get fired. But why do you get fired for benching a dude that ain't playing hard and not getting anything done?
Right.
And you give the recipe away to let guys think it's all about them. They don't have to be accountable, you know, and the coach is going to get fired. You know, I didn't agree with that firing. Neither did a whole lot of my fraternity of college coaches and people in the basketball business just didn't agree with their firing with the Toronto Raptors guy, but I did predict he was going to be fired because he was a scapegoat, you know. Just because that dude wasn't getting nothing done, where's his accountability? And I think that's where we kind of start losing him. Does it come from grassroots? This is the interesting question that we have to ask ourselves. Does it come from the youth grassroots level and go into the NBA level, or does it trickle down from the NBA level down into the grassroots level? What do you think about that, Honey? Whose fault is it? Is the coach's fault, or do kids have to be accountable for the production?
Kids got to be accountable for.
Yeah. So are we acting that way in grassroots basketball because that's what happens at the high level, or do they act that way because that's the climate and culture that we create and raise them in and take them on to the process?
I think it's a culture that we create.
Okay. That's not a bad angle. Not a bad angle. Cleveland up 12-7. Like Brun trying to have his way. A good clean looking shot there. That ball go in. Look at Brun. Made a nice one there. Get it wound up. But that's the way we're predicting that situation. One of the things that you're going to have to see is that where your transition defense is right tonight. It'll be interesting to watch. One of the things I saw is that numbers-wise, transition defense has been a big part. I first noticed it on Sunday night in the first game with Cleveland and Boston, and I thought I saw it again with how well Golden State Warriors ran the floor and filled the lanes, and they weren't matching it. You know, what I see going on tonight better, and with Cleveland having to win, and you're seeing a lot of red or burgundy or whatever color they're supposed to be jerseys that are getting back on the other side of the ball. You know, and that's the way you look at that's the way you evaluate transition defense. You know, you say pick up. You can't pick anybody up if you're looking at the back of the jersey. I'm going with my man Jalen Rose on that when he talks about that sometimes. You know, if you turn around and show multiple instances you look at, here's a run trotting up there and everybody else is going that way. You supposed to be saving yourself on defense? Well, ain't no saving yourself on defense in the playoffs when you start playing for the championship.
That's against Boston.
No, you're not in Boston, but they're trying to get out and get it. We got one chance to handle it. We don't want to be part of the half-court set wrestling around with you. So, I mean, that's where I think transition defense is going to have a huge piece on this deal. And the other thing, you know, everybody wants to put Golden State is this good because they have Kevin Durant. Golden State was pretty damn good before they had Kevin Durant. So you had Kevin Durant. And you know what I really, really like about this situation? And nobody likes to talk about it because we all like Westbrook. I saw him a couple of days ago over in Atlanta. They got to be something. Westbrook said Westbrook getting ready to fire the coach too. He getting ready to fire his coach.
I saw him sitting on the bench. He edged toward the.
He put a timeout. Boy, he jumped up. Come on, guys, let's go. just jumped in front of poor coach. Coach, I be working these dudes out all the time while you been going out there shooting up all the balls over there in Oklahoma City. Now you want to come here and run every damn thing. What the hell's going on here? But I was taking a look at it, you know, as usual. But, you know, that's the whole story on this stuff, man. You know, is that, you know, where the whole deal is that Golden State was pretty good before then. Oh, yeah. But where I have to really say, now you really start looking at why did Durant leave the Thunder? Mm-hmm. Durant, you say, he went to go jump with a super team and do this so he could get him a championship. There might be some truth to that. But he also went to go play with some guys that would share the basketball.
Yeah, that play the right way.
And play the right way. Yeah. I mean, we get upset, but we want to point at this. We want to say less of this and less of that. That's one place I don't agree with Stephen A. Smith. He tried to kill Durant when he did this and did that. But when you're supposed to sit back there and play with these dudes, nobody said anything about when Harden bailed out. Yeah. He had enough of it too. Yeah. And I mean, I saw Westbrook as a kid, extremely talented, tough kid, can really score the basketball. But even when Harden came down there, the Rockets couldn't get going in the direction that they need to go in if they didn't bring in a Chris Paul to stable. Goes back. Race cars do not do well without steering wheels. Race cars do not do well without steering wheels. It's unpredictable and it's very hard to manage without a steering wheel with that much horsepower.
Because,
Go ahead.
Just look at Westbrook. We talked about it last week with players that are hard to play with, and Westbrook with Victor Oladipo. Look at the season he's had. Look at Paul George. Look at
my man from over there with New York, Carmelo Anthony.
Yeah.
Ain't like these dudes can't play, coach.
Right. Yeah. They don't all of a sudden go from 20-point per game scores, shooting over 40% to
just scratching their head.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. It's crazy. And how we sit here on these talk shows and all these ESPN platforms and sit here and run our mouths about this and that. But it still goes back to doing. It's just like life. It's just like the culture that we live in. When we do right, good things happen. Mm-hmm. When we do things the wrong way, it usually doesn't come back right. You can't get around it. It's almost the law of the universe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You cannot get around the whole deal. So when you look at what Golden State is doing, they're playing the right way. They're playing the right way. So, I'm going to hold on to my prediction because I feel like Tyronn Lue will bring Cleveland back to a way because Cleveland doesn't have deficiencies. Don't let them tell you all that crap about LeBron doesn't have any help.
Yeah.
They've just got to play within the direction or the way or to their strengths with the help he has.
Yeah.
And that's what you have. They have shooting, and you got to utilize the shooting. And the minute they start doing that, then I think you're going to see a really 7-game series between Cleveland and Boston.
Right.
But your boys down in Bayou City, I don't know, Coach.
Yeah.
No. Don't look good.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
Doesn't look good.
No.
For all my 7-7 zip code folks, I hope Alan Branch is wrong on this one. I hope we can take it down and keep everything interesting. We do the Snoop Johnson way. We like to keep the basketball going as long as we can so we have more to watch.
Right.
What we going to do when it's over with? Go over there and see if we can dig the Rangers out. See what their mathematical possibility is going to be when we go to fall.
Like. Yeah.
Last minute recruiting. Who's going to get this job? Well, we'll go to work hard July. We take a little vacation there. We're going to have to come up with so many answers, some of this madness that we're looking at. But I got a chance to take a good, strong look, and I'm going to try to take about 4 minutes. I'm going to steal 1 minute, and they owe me 3 minutes. EYBL. EYBL does I got that look from Lady Life like you're in church cutting up or something. EYBL is Nike has done a marketing grandiose job. Mm-hmm. They've been marketing geniuses on a group of young people that are already predisposed to marketing, to social media, and to hype. You look at what they've done. There's still bad basketball there. Mm-hmm. There's still dudes there that can't play, honey.
Yeah.
That's one of the illusions. Oh man, everybody at EYBL is this or that. They're incorporating pros. You can't walk from me to Lady Life without bumping into an ex-NBA player or NBA player that's playing. They've influxed all of those people in there, so it creates a celebrity. What's the girl, Gabrielle Union? Yeah, she was there hanging out with us. Her and Dwayne Wade.
Yeah, Dwayne Wade
and they're those celebrities are so common, nobody even pays any attention to her. So that's what they're doing that has created all of this hype. So everybody wants to be around it because there's some type of weird warped thing going on in the head that I used to always tell people is if I stand. This is the thing that's always been crazy to me about grassroots people and parents and some of basketball people is if I stand next to Michael Jordan long enough, I'll start to look like and play like Michael Jordan. And so human beings are drawn toward hype. They're drawn toward if some kind of a way that if I am incorporated, if I interact long enough with a certain class of people or a certain quality of people, that I'm going to turn into that person, or I'm going to get the same opportunity they got, and could be anything farther from the truth. That's the marketing genius that Nike has done. They've created that type of environment. You go into it. I saw it and it was coming. I was at the very first A lot of people don't realize it. Where was the very first EYBL session ever held at? Trivia question.
Virginia.
No, Houston, Texas. Right there in Houston, Texas, in the middle of a crazy tornadic thunderstorm environment. Teams were flying in late. The old place where they had it, and I can't even call the name of it, right there on I-10 and Beltway 8, is torn down now. Actually not torn down. All the courts are out. They're using it for manufacturing or something. But that's where it all started. It didn't look anything like it looks now. It wasn't marketed anything like it's marketed now. Social media didn't have any traction when they first started. When they first started with the whole process, well, I think it was, should have been 2008, may have been 2009, 2010, somewhere right along there, because Junior Cadogan was on his way to Marquette, class of 2009, yeah. It was a different animal then. It was a different situation. But I first saw it when Hal Pastner started dropping down. You had the colored black floors, and you had the Big 8, and they started dropping the panels down and showing all of what they were doing with all the pros and all the silhouettes of the pros and all these things being going, and Brand Jordan getting involved. And now they're dangling the NBA carrot. There's a reason why 236 dudes put their name in the draft with only 60 places to go and gave up everything else they have to go over. Right, hype. You're chasing a carrot. Mm-hmm. I'm not knocking Nike for this by any way. They're in business.
Right.
They are in business. But the mystique of the EYBL, yeah, there are plenty of really good players. Really, really proud of Tyrese Maxey, who was just on the show a few days ago, and how he exhibited himself. He was probably one of the top 3-4 players out there. I got a chance to look at, was it Joe Wiseman? What's the Wiseman kid's name? Left-handed kid I like?
James Wiseman.
James Wiseman. Got a chance to take a good look at James Wiseman, kid from Alabama. Got a chance to take a good look at him.
Wofford,
Traylon Wofford, right. But you know who I felt like had the truest position and probably has much upside or more and had a magnificent performance. And you can look at TexasBoysBasketball.com where I'll be writing an article about it and you can read more about it. And that's going to be Samuel Williamson. Samuel Williamson was impressive, Coach. He was impressive, the same impressive. Doesn't require a lot of shots, doesn't require a lot of ball bouncing, a lot of handling time. He was just effective. Mm-hmm. He was the same kid that I saw hashtag cream of the crop. Every year we have that. Go take a look and listen for and plan for it this coming August for your up-and-coming 22 and 23 players. Hashtag cream of the crop. The same efficiency I saw there has just grown into 6'7", 6'8", and the shooting touch and the IQ and the athleticism is kicking in. Samuel Williamson was, I would say, was one of the top 3 prospects at camp based on what I see. He and Tyrese Maxey dominated the situation for the Texas teams coming out of the situation. So it was a good experience there. We got a chance to take a look at it. I'm going to be writing more about it on TexasBoysBasketball.com. Anita Prince giving it to us like it is. 5-State Hoop Report.
Yes, sir.
Going to be telling us more about it on Basketball Thursday and how some of those groups looked around. Lady Light keeping us between the lines. Yours truly. We signing off and out. We'll see you on Basketball Thursday. Hope your team gets their steering wheel in their direction. We try to keep it where it's supposed to be right here in Texas. Today's show is brought to you by FastSmallSports.com. This segment was brought to you by the Lonestar Top 100 Camp. We'll see you on Basketball Thursday with more Lone Star Sports Show. All things sports, all things Texas. Giving it to you like it is. We out. We're going to go take a look at it on NBA playoffs.